Aloha mai kako. Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to episode 89 of the Moana Nui Podcast. My name is Moana, and I am the founder and host of our weekly broadcast show. Tonight, we are doing a very special episode for one of our favorite creators who currently has a project live right now on Kickstarter called Snow Paw. But before I do that and bring on our wonderful guests, I just wanted to thank everybody who came and supported the Burning Spear Comics at Baltimore Comic-Con this weekend. For those of you who were there, you noticed some differences in the way the show was run because it was at reduced capacity and there were some hiccups along the way. But it was a great show to reconnect with our fellow indie creators as well as our readers and loyal followers who we see all the time. Who are constantly looking for us at the show and just a chance to interact, engage, and see how everybody's doing. We got a chance to hang out a little bit with the dynamic duo over at Tuskegee Airs, Greg Burnham and Marcus Williams, Javier Cruz Winnick with A Reason to Smile and his children's book. Let's see, our brother TJ Sterling over at Ray Comics. Wendell Smith, Lynn Marie, Harry Crossland, Brian Gregory, and so many more of our creators as well as cosplayers in the community. So shout out to everyone. I hope you guys had a great time at the show. Tonight, I am hosting by myself. Dana is actually on a plane, or hopefully will be on a plane soon, headed back to Atlanta. She was in town to help us with the convention, and we're really appreciative of her presence, energy, and expertise at the show with us. So shout outs to Dana. Thank you for all your behind-the-scenes work that made this episode possible too. So with all of that said, I want to introduce our two guests that we have with us tonight. We have two powerful women in the creative community. One who I've met them both. Well, I might have met Mog beforehand, but I met them both on video here at 101 Tales that we did last October, where they were highlighting different independent creators, and they were trying to bridge connections with, us not being able to be at the convention, but still wanting to interact with fans and, create beautiful artwork that people can love and enjoy and appreciate. So I'm very grateful to them and Mel working behind the scenes for connecting us through 101 Tales. And tonight, I have Mog Park with us. And for those of you who don't know her, she has been on our show multiple times, both as a guest spotlight as well as participating on our topic panels. I believe she was on the Appropriation versus Appreciation panel and a couple more that we did for Pacific Islander Month this past May. But Mog is a world traveler, and she has lived in Australia, Egypt, Africa, and Russia, as well as Japan. She's moved around the U.S. a bunch, living in California, Wisconsin, Illinois, and then, of course, at my home of Hawaii. She currently resides in L.A., and she also can speak 3 different languages, which is awesome: Korean, Japanese, and English. And as someone who has stories in more than one language, I really appreciate that. Mog is a traditional artist from the Academy of Art University in San Francisco. And after she graduated, she began working for Tokyo Pop, where she kind of gained her experience leading to becoming a concept and illustrator on HBO's Game of Thrones, which we talked a bunch in the last episode. Which I found it super fascinating, and her art is just perfect for that particular series. She's also done multiple covers for BDI, Fairy Metal, Mount Olympus, Dren Productions, Hanahan Comics, Mighty Comics, Sire Comics, and KG Comics, just to name a few. She is the main artist, interior and covers for Snow Paw, which is the Kickstarter that we're talking about tonight. And she'll also be a regular artist on Ruxy, I hope I'm saying that right, from KG Comics, and Underland from Totally Rad Comics. So that's Mog, and I'll bring her on while I also introduce I hope I'm saying it right, and if I'm not, please correct me when you come on. Vu, from being a graduate in cybersecurity, which is really cool and important, to a new and upcoming comic artist. Vu is making strides with indie comics publishers. She was inspired by the artistic culture of Vietnam, and she has always been invested in the arts since an early age. Professionally, she entered the comic industry in 2018, and she was recently published as a cover artist for Totally Rad Comics' Totally Rad Monster title. Ooh, it's October. Currently, she's on schedule to have more covers published and will be debuting her interior sequential work with Mayhem Production, Dustin Brunel, and Philip Russert, just to name a few. Next year, she is on track to make her debut at several conventions here on the continent. And you can find out more about her work and keep up with her at Facebook and Instagram, which will share those links at the bottom throughout the show. So let's welcome on to the show. Hello.
Hey, congrats on number 89.
I know, right? I was like,
my favorite number 69, but yes.
yes. It was funny because Dana and I were like, we're trying to catch up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at where we are already. It's crazy. But thank you. Yes. Anne, can we hear you? I think you're muted.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I know, I saw myself muted and I was like, newbie mistakes. Always have it.
It's all good. Yeah, it happens to all of us.
Lovely intro. Thank you, Dana. Not Dana, sorry.
Dana 1 and Dana 2. It's all good. Aloha, Steven, Antonio. Let's see who else we got. We got Mel in the chat. For those who are tuning in, feel free to engage in the comments. If you have questions for Mog or An, please feel free to drop them as we go throughout the conversation tonight. We just talk story, Hawaii style. So let's start with. So here's a question: How did the two of you meet, and do you guys have any projects that you have worked on together?
That's a very good question. I will have An tell the story. She said it so much better than me. So An, you do it, man.
Well, what happened was that back in 2017, it was like mid 2017. I just moved to Hawaii back in 2016. I was doing college online because of the move. My dad is working for the military, so that's how we ended up overseas in Korea, and then we moved back here. And then so I was always looking for a group of artists, comic artists specifically, to hang out with. And then there happened to be this flyer that's like, there's a local con featuring Game of Thrones illustrator Mog Park. My dad's like, you want to see this? And I was like, heck yeah. So I went in there, but I didn't even know she was the illustrator for Game of Thrones to begin with. I wasn't really looking. I went around all the tables like twice, and then I came back to her table and I got stuck because I saw in her portfolio that was open, there was so much detail. I remember it was a specific page on just the ships. It was details with all the perspective of the ship, and I was like, oh my god, this person is a genius. She knows how to draw all these perspectives. And then I saw her name, right? It was in Korean, and I have lived in Korea before this, and so I took that as like a way to connect, and I was like, 안녕하세요. And then next thing you know, we ended up talking for like 2 hours. I showed her my artwork, and then she passed it around. And because of Mog, I sold my first ever original artwork just because of her too. And after that, it was history. I ended up going to all the convention with them and getting guided into the industry and just, into comics overall. Yeah.
As for projects, we haven't really worked on any except just recently, unfortunately.
Just one.
I'm sure it's a local boy artist, Free Isabello. Unfortunately, he passed away.
Yes.
And I wanted to do a tributary art for him, like an homage of his. Well, I did a collage of the line work of the significant part of him, and I try to put all the symbolism inside. Where the background is the San Diego Comic Convention. How he so it's kind of showing how he that was his goal as a comic artist exactly. And then there's the little kitty there is it's one of the biggest supporter comic shop called Other Realms, and their logo is actually a cat with a green cape and a sword and a purple sometimes a purple flag. So it's hugging him, symbolizing the shop, the comic book shop, you know, loved him, and they had a close bond. And then these are his characters, which he's known for, which is his steampunk ladies, and I put them up in the sky. So that's kind of his vision and his dream that he's seeing in the sunset towards the San Diego Comic Convention. And he resided in Las Vegas, so that's the Las Vegas sign. And then if you look on the bottom of the right, there are all these little art tools and his glasses, because he wears glasses, and showing that he always was drawing. He always carried that art toolbox everywhere around with him. So it's a very kind of like an emotional, and try to make it into like a dream, like it's his own fantasies and his dream and his passion. That's why they said the orange color and the sun is there. And then I really do like his motto is live free, die free. And
Oh yeah.
the jacket it says live free, die free. And I put a horse with the wings symbolizing freedom, like galloping. It's like those horses that, what do you call them? The ones you can't control, like those wild horses.
Oh yeah, I can't remember the name, but yeah, I know what
Yeah,
you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. So with the wings and everything, so that's what I try to put all of it together.
That's beautiful. I love how you just incorporate so many things about like his personality and his mission and his passion. I mean, he was, being another Hawaii-based artist and someone who, we obviously connected. I mean, because Hawaii people, we find each other everywhere. But like having known Free as well, I met him. I think I met him at San Diego Comic Con. But then throughout the years, getting to know him better at New York Comic Con and just hanging out. He did some work for us with our children's book, Fishing Day with Papa Ray. And so when I saw the community kind of, um, essentially, just coming together to celebrate his life, actually his, finding out his passing, it like was really a wake up call for me. I'm like, oh my God, he's young. He's like 3 years older than me, maybe, like he's really close in age. And it just kind of like made me think like, okay, kind of reset your perspective on like, yes, you can get really caught up in the hustle and bustle of, being a creative and the con scene, and doing art and all the things that we have to do to stay, abreast of this, but like not forgetting about our health and, our self-care and our mental health too, because I know he struggled with that a lot as well. So that's such a beautiful honoring of his life. And if there's any left, I want one.
Oh, okay. I got it. We are,
Yay!
yeah, while we're at it, if you don't mind me mentioning, actually,
Yeah.
because in creating that piece right there, so Mock did the line work, and then she allowed me to paint over it. So that was our collaboration. But we do have prints available that I've been debuting at Other Realms as well. And I believe someone else was also debuting at other conventions over on the mainland, and we're raising fund for his family in that way. So we're selling the prints for $20 a piece, and for the originals, I have the original painted work. Mark has the original line work, and we're also putting those up for sale. And of course, the proceeds are gonna go to Free's family just to help out.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, I definitely want to help
Thank
help
you.
with that for sure.
So far, An has raised some money for us. So thank you, An, for the
Yeah.
free Isabella.
Yes,
Yes.
no, my pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Alrighty, so let's kind of go with the Hawaii the Hawaii theme. Let's talk about like there's an event coming up I think it's in 2 weeks. Let's talk about Comic Jam Hawaii, what it is, and what you guys are doing for that.
All right, on, go for it.
I'm becoming your spokesperson.
Wasn't there like a poster? No, was it something else?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, if you don't mind me sharing you a screen real quick,
Sure.
I
Yeah.
do have it. Give me a second here. I forgot I made this a while back. Let me go to that screen. Where are we? Oh, here we go. Share. Okay. So that is the online mini con of 2021. It's gonna happen from Friday to Sunday on the veteran weekend. It's November 12th to 14th. What we got going on are just we the way it was set up was through Michael Cannon, who took the initiative to set up a group, and a bunch of us local folks sign up to volunteer to help get this going. And we have, first and foremost, of course, the local creatives who could jump on board with this. And we are expecting about 40, somewhere in the 40 range of creatives on here. And we've recently opened up the spots for some out of island creatives to hop on as well. But we have a lot of panels. We have panels that runs, let me check the schedule here, I believe 9 a.m. each day to all the way to 7 p.m. Hawaii time over here. And the panels, you got interviews with creators. You got, I'm actually interviewing a local Hawaii-based YouTuber who's big on YouTube, known to cover a lot of cons, known to cover a lot of cosplay content. His name is Grant Ujita. He's going to talk about music as well in the pop culture. So that will be something I'm looking forward to. Mog and I, we will actually have our own panels talking about working with publishers and our experience with them, and opportunities that we've had. We'll talk about that later, but we're gonna have the stage for this convention, kind of like a real life convention where you have artists and creators putting up their own prints, their own original artwork up for sale, and you can connect with them that way and buy off of them right there. And of course, you're gonna have not collectors. I mean, dealers who have their toys and their comics collections that are up for sale as well. So we have things like that, and every night at 7 p.m. there will be game shows every night at 7 p.m. And there's an improv that Michael Cannon is also gonna do. So yeah, it's pretty much to fill in the gap of the non-convention year that we've had because of COVID over here. So yeah, it was really awesome for them to put this together. And we're just glad to help out.
That's great. So for those who would like to participate, how do they go about doing that?
Oh, go ahead, send me a message on Facebook, Instagram. Send me a message on my name here on booth, and I'll gladly take your information. What I would need from you would be your artist name or whatever you want to go by for this con, and then I need your email so we can send you a form to let you know about the details on how to set up and whatnot. And then I need the type of products you want to put up for sale. So just those 3 things. If you can shoot me a message, and I'll forward it over to our correspondent who are taking the name and sending the emails out. But pretty much that. And then of course follow the Comic Jam Hawaii page on Facebook. That way you can keep up with everything with us. Yeah.
Okay, great. So for those who are like wanting to participate as an attendee, do they join is
Uh,
there a group to join or?
Attendee. So I think in about a week or two, we will have a massive like uploads of like announcement for them
Okay.
to go over to. They will get. They'll be able to enter the site and they just automatically get in. There's no like wait list. There's no like sign up or anything. You can just like come join when it's open up. So right now we're still setting up behind the scene. That's why.
Got
But if you follow Mog and I, you'll definitely see it.
it. Okay, cool. Awesome.
There's something really awesome that is kind of due, I would say November, is it November 9th on or November 12th? But it's my good friend in Hawaii, she's an engineer and
Oh,
she loves and appreciates art.
I
So
can bring that up right
yeah,
now.
what she did was she had reached out to the Society of Women's Engineering.
Ah,
So the
yes.
entire society of engineering for only to the women in the society. And what she proposes, she wanted to promote art as well as engineering. So what she did was, hey, I'm gonna do an art show, and it's gonna be an auction. So whatever the proceeds will be given as a scholarship to a female student, so she can get the engineering degree.
Ah, okay.
So, and the cool thing is, this is so unique because I haven't really seen this done before. Amongst the auction, usually when we do auction shows, it's 100% proceeds just go to the auctioneers.
Mm-hmm.
But in here, she's giving you a free, she's giving you a cut. It's actually even better than a gallery. So she's giving you a minimum 30%. She will say, I respect your art. I want to promote so you can make a living. And also we can make a living. So let's help
Mm-hmm.
each other out. So at least give us 30% of your proceeds and the rest you can take it, keep it. And if you
Yes,
like, of course, you can put more than 30%. You can even donate 100%. But that's awesome. And it's a very limited slot, I think. Aunt, didn't she say she only has about
yeah.
slots left?
Like I don't know the exact count, but I recently got a few more requests to be on here, and it's wonderful the kind of people that we've received to come on to the show. Like this morning, there's an artist who was like, I can't make the timing, but I will do what I can. But I'm gonna put up my piece. I'm gonna donate it. I'm gonna, instead of getting, you know, re- just giving the 30%, I'll give up the 70%, and then I'll just take the 30%. And that was amazing. But yes, there is a limited amount of people that the organization can handle. Again, this is something new for them, and they're doing it for the cause of providing education for women in engineering. So if you're an artist out there, please shoot me a message. The deadline to submit is November 1st. The deadline is November 1st. So if you can, and you got something that's steampunk original art, no fan art because they don't want, we're helping them out by not making any copyrighted move over here. But
Yes.
yes, so steampunk original art, if you're into that and if you can uh, make any art like that and you want to be a part of this, please shoot me a message ASAP. And so I can get you set up, get you fill out forms and whatnot. Again, we only ask for 30% of your profit to go toward this scholarship for women's in engineering. And that's it. And it's all Hawaiian based, where the profits will go toward. And hey, steampunk is cool. So why not
Yeah,
challenge yourself
yeah,
and do something with steampunk? Yes, steampunk is
yeah.
hot.
For me, I just feel this is an awesome thing because it's kind of unprecedented how um, this my friend is actually trying to bridge art and engineering
Yes.
to
Yes.
the world together, and that's very unusual. And I love how she thinks outside the box like that. And you have to know, like, whoever wants to submit, I'm so sorry that it's short notice. You guys practically have about only 6 days or 7 days left to submit. But the Society of Women of Engineering is about 6,000. So
Wow.
6,000 people will be kind of attending it. I mean,
Yeah.
virtually, that is.
That's dope.
So it's a
And
huge market.
yes,
And it's for a good
and
cause.
of course they really appreciate the help because this is really new bridging. Because I came from a cybersecurity background too, right? So I felt the pressure and the difficulty of bridging the two fields together. I always was told that no, it can't be done. And look, we're doing something with it right now. It can be done, and steampunk was such a perfect theme for this. And also, if you are not a participant as an artist, if you're looking for original artwork, this is the perfect place. Original, this is as original as it can get. Down, and it's theme on steampunk. We don't do a
Mhm.
lot of steampunk art in majority of our work, so this is actually pushing us out of our comfort zone too. I know Mark has done some before, but it's a challenge for us to do something new. I know I'm doing something new. It's actually a little surprise that only Mark knows about.
It's not
And
a little
so
surprise. It's a big surprise. Your piece
it's
is
very
going to be massive.
ambitious. And I only have 6 days left to do. And
I know.
like if you're an artist and you want to jump on this, you'll be with me on this. But
Yeah.
and we will make you poster like this. Mark and I are
I
crime
love it.
criminals
Yeah,
wanted
you'll be wanted.
for our art.
Yes,
Yeah.
so
So
basically, you guys want to be wanted? Get it before somebody else does. We're very limited slot left. So yes,
true.
and
That's so cool.
If you capture us, you get our artwork pretty much. We have
yeah.
no choice, right? We'll hand it over. And
Also, oh, thank you, Robin. Also, this is, by the way, my friend. She's the president who's running this. I'm gonna have to do a shout out for her. And I have to give credit where it's due. And her name is
Yeah.
Chi Zhao. Her last name is Zhao, and her first name is Chi, Chi. Just awesome, awesome person. And yeah,
she helped design these poster too.
mm,
And in her main job is pretty much the president of an engineering club, as well as I think she's in some kind of leader position with like the engineering in like power
yeah,
generation in on the island. Yeah. So
mhm.
dang.
I know. Sometimes she would joke. I literally am in charge of the power. Power.
Yeah.
Without me, you have
So
no power. She was.
No, yeah, this is amazing because it's funny that you brought up bridging the gap because that was actually one of the questions I was going to ask. Because yeah, traditionally, it's often marketed or promoted as though engineering and art are like two totally separate sides, but it's not really. Maybe we're using different parts of our brain, but it's not that far
oh
separated.
no, not at all.
And I'm so glad that we have more out of the box thinkers. Because myself, my degrees is a technical degree. Also, I got computer science and management information systems. Engineering is a little bit much for me. It's a little bit too far. But I'll let the other smarter people do that. But I mean, that was like what I studied. And I never thought I would be here, like on the creative side, like, oh yeah, I have my children's book and I'm editor helping my husband publish a comic book series. Like, some people be like, what the heck does that have to do with your degree? I'm like, it doesn't matter.
It soothes my soul.
That's right. It doesn't matter. There's so many ways. Like, because I feel like there are things in engineering that can come off as boring, but if you add art and like, the creative side to it, it can be more attractive to students who like, they just need more visual representations of stuff.
Yeah,
In a way, we're making the technical fields a little, it has more actions to it now and
Yes.
more appeal to it.
Yes. Absolutely.
I think also, just in case you guys think because this is a Society of Women Engineering, doesn't mean that you have to be only a female artist. You can be a male.
Oh, yeah.
You can be any gender you want. It's okay. Just submit the artwork, please, before until November 1. And yeah, just that's it. Oh,
Yes.
please. Also, limited slots only. So
Yes.
Yes.
So watch my inbox get floods. Go ahead, please send me a message ASAP so that I can go through them as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that. Okay, so shout out to Chi Jiao and for all the wonderful work she's doing here. Let's see, what do we want to talk about next? Let's talk about Snow Paw. So Snow Paw is actually created and published by a friend of mine, Rob Moltari, who I met through the comics launch mastermind community from Tyler James, and he and I have talked, behind the scenes about the ins and outs of being a creator, and so that's how we kind of bonded and got to know each other. So when I saw that you were going to be working with him, I was like, oh, this is amazing, because he had kind of told me about Snow Paw like earlier on, right before it was even published or even incorporated into Nightwolf, which was also successfully funded on Kickstarter. But one of the things I told him, I was like, oh, this would be so cool, because like comics is so focused. Well, the majority, I won't say all because that's not true, but the majority of comics is very male focused, right? Like there's not a whole lot of female characters that are at the forefront. And if they are, they're mostly like sexually exploited. I'll say that in terms of like their body figure, and specific shapes of women. And so you don't see a lot of female readers in comics. Because it's just like the capes and things. It's just not, it's not how women. We need like the romance. We need like, the relationship aspect. So when I saw he gave me an early read on Snow Paw, I was like, oh, this is a great way to build upon your current success and also bring in the female readers. So tell us, Mog, about how did the connection between you and Rob happen, and what was it about Snow Paw that attracted you to say yes to be the artist for this particular series?
okay, I wish Rob was here because he tells a better story. What was happening was, during COVID, you can't like go to cons or anything. So what he was doing was he was doing a book signing live on an Onray show. Onray was hiring independent comic books sometimes to appear on his show and sell their comic books, as well as his own collection of comics.
Yes.
So he happened to be there and was talking about Nightwolf, and it sounded interesting. So I bought, I think, issue number 1 and 2, but he said there was more, but he didn't have that. So I later on picked up the rest, and that was it. And I thought nothing of it. But what happened was, I think he knew who I was. He said he was kind of aware of my artwork anyway, and he kind of knew that I worked for Game of Thrones and all of that. So he looked at the line works that I did for Game of Thrones, and they were usually very clean line works anyway, because it's for production. So he thought, oh, this could be very translated easily into comics. So after a while, he approached me, via Messenger and said, hey, are you interested by any chance, late 1800s, historic female werewolf, supernatural, and Scotland? So the pitch totally sold me because, it's very unique. It's very rare. And and it says fantasy, and I love fantasy, and that's already my jam. I freaking love fantasy, man. So supernatural and all of that. And then I thought, historic? Hell yeah, I'm very familiar with historic things anyway. So let's use what I have and draw it into here. Now, the cool, interesting part about this also was I've really never done an action. So I know you hit upon like that. There's some sensitive stuff, like there's going to be a little bit of romance. And because the main character is a female, you're going to see a female point of view in the story. There's going to be a feminine touch to it. And that's great. But what I really, really was hoping that it wouldn't be is like one of those Twilight, those romance. It's not a romance like that. Romance is not the key. It's just her origin story, how she came to be, how she is now, from a simple peasant girl to something that is in Nightwolf. she's like over 200 years old. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of show the gap of her origin genesis story, and that is very intriguing. And what's really interesting that he hasn't really talked about was because it's the late 1800s, it's Victorian era, right? He's thinking for the next ones, the issue number 2, there's going to be actually some steampunk elements, which makes sense.
Ooh.
Because, hey, think about it, right? This is where the steam engines and all of that were starting to develop, right? So this character is not only going to just stay in Scotland. She's going to, of course, move around the world.
Yes.
And imagine what you can do in the historic, what it's going to look like, in those worlds. Plus, you mingle with supernatural. So
Right.
it's going to be amazing, man. But yeah. So there you go. And those are all the variant art covers. And yeah, he did. I think Rob and I really had fun working this together. I actually asked him, why did you hire why were you looking specifically for me, or and he said that he specifically wanted a female artist because he believed that they could translate it somehow better instead of a male artist just drawing it. And luckily also he already had a colorist that he already kind of had his eye on, or he was about to ask. And then the colorist he knows because he worked with him before, but unfortunately the colorist was way too busy, so he had to scramble and find another colorist. And that colorist is also a female colorist. So this is really cool because if you just take Robert out as a writer, this is pretty much made by a female. Actually, the art at least is done all by females. So it kind of has that sort of feminine quality, I would say.
Yeah.
But also in the same token, it's serious and it's also action. And then I mean, you read it, right? So
I did.
Turn where it does get actiony. So
yes, it does. It does. It's a good balance of both. For those who are already reading and following Nightwolf, I think this will be it's just a different perspective. But it does connect. It is going to connect. So I'm super excited. If there are the things that came to mind to me when I was reading this are so if there are folks who are fans of the Outlander series, they have they have some romance and some feminine things with Claire, but it's still it's very action packed. There's male all the male testosterone stuff you want. There's that too. But it's just a really cool story, and I like the time period that he picked. Personally, I am a fan of Scottish lore and just learning more about their history and their legends and things like that. So it was super fun for me. I was like, okay, this is an automatic. I mean, I already love Rob and I support all of his projects, but the fact that you were on it too, and it was going to be more of a female story, I was like, oh, this is great, because it will also help not just people our age, but little girls too, younger girls who don't may not be into perhaps the comic side. Maybe they like anime, and those kinds of things. But I think this could be a good introductory story for them as well. Sorry, I get excited about these comics.
Yeah, and also, like you said, it's this is definitely not sexualized or anything like that.
Right.
So even a young girl can definitely see it and not have that message across. In fact, there's a funny story because when we were first doing the character designs, he said, "I want you to nail her look. So can you please try to draw her and see if I agree with your style of her?" And I drew her in different outfits. And there was a scene, there's a little shot, several shots of her. And in one of the shots, the button here, right, was a bit kind of low, opened up like this. So you can see her chest. And then he was the one who was saying, "Oh, this is a little too risque." I'm thinking, I think this is fine. I mean, she's got breasts. And like prudish. And the thing is, and then he came back later on and said, "Hey, I just talked to my wife. I showed it to her, and she said, it's fine. So I guess it's okay." So the guy was actually being more sensitive about it. So that was funny.
Yes, he and I have talked about that too. He's like, my wife is helps me when I'm creating, and we don't want it to be too much, but still show the nice and respect the feminine shape, of the female characters. So That's great. Awesome. So what are there any like mug specific specials that are in the campaign?
Oh yes. So if you scroll down, they you can, when you back a project, you can have an option of an add-on, and then for the add-on, you can Rob and I are selling out. I think he put 2 interior pages, and they are actually very important key scenes. This is where the first appearance of several characters are coming out. First appearance of ever. So if you are a collector, this has high value. So you can have those 2 are up for as an add-on for my original black and whites, and which is also rare if you think about it, because most people do digital art.
Yes.
And another thing is we are selling the cover art, which I did traditionally, and it's actually it's the color art is a special experiment that I tried. It's actually a jewel painting, because the paints are made of ground gemstones like turquoise, amethyst, the garnet, and I think there was like jade, amazonite. Yeah, like about 5. Yeah, I gave my friend on there samples of it so she can also play with them.
Oh, nice.
Hey, thank you, Robin. Yeah. Special, like, the colors are very vibrant. So when you actually get the original, you will see that they do kind of change. Maybe it's the crystals in it that is refracting the light during the day. The colors do change during the day. And it's very fun. It was very fun doing the painting. And yeah, for $2,500, you can get the original, which is one of a kind jewel painting, and it's the first issue, the first cover of the first issue of Snow Paw. So there is a significance right there. So, and on top of that, you get all these other goodies. So it's a huge package deal, and shipping is free included.
Nice.
So yeah, there you go.
And it's just emphasis on that. These are real gems. Paint. So, and it doesn't show much on camera, but I can testify that the paint quality is high, like very, very high and very, very vibrant. So you're getting a lot of worth out of it, especially if you can luckily somehow claim that original piece by Mog.
Yeah. And also there's kind of cool thing, like as you see there, the original art there, they call the lunar phase, and that's the crescent moon. So soon he's going to put up half moon, the full moon, and then the blood moon. And each original art is going to be kind of has a story, it's connected. And you can also purchase that if $2,500 is too much for you, which I totally understand. No worries there. You can just get another one for original art for $250. But I discussed with Rob, he's going to release them pretty soon. The half moon phase, the full moon, and the blood moon.
Oh, blood moon! I want
and these original arts are about 7 by 10-ish the size.
Okay.
But I think you might like the blood moon a lot.
It
is.
Yeah, when you see the blood moon, yes. Yeah.
The colors are amazing. I'm astonished
even awesome guy. Yeah, Rob is an awesome guy. Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
He's actually not taking all the proceeds, like $2,500. He's not gonna take it all. We're splitting the profit, so he gives back to the artist as well. That works for him. You know? And I love Rob. I appreciate Rob for doing that, because it's very rare that the writer and the artist like work that well together. And he's really good. Also, whatever money that you do fund for this Kickstarter, it helps us further on for the next Kickstarter. So it's really, you guys are not just backing him, you're actually backing a team of artists and him, and also fans who wants to see more of this story coming alive. I want to see what happens next, and Rob is still not telling me what happens next. He needs to see it quick, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, so this is the colorist. Okay, cool.
Yeah, she's really beautiful too, but her English is not so good, unfortunately. So but
we have our illustrator is from Brazil too, and there is a language gap sometimes with the Portuguese. It's funny because I thought Portuguese would be like closer to Spanish because there are words that are Spanish, but I'm like, no, that's not Spanish. That's Portuguese. That's cool. Brazil is actually a big market for artists too.
Well, yeah, I guess a lot of beautiful women, a lot of talented, talented people.
Yes.
Soccer too, right? I mean, they're like dominating the world, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Brazil's actually like I've traveled there, and the climate and just the people, they kind of remind me a lot of Hawaii's culture. So I really felt at home there.
Oh, you've been there.
Yeah, I've been to
Awesome.
Brasilia. Yeah. It was beautiful.
That's funny you mentioned that because when I was working in Hawaii for the tourist industry for a bit, sometimes occasionally we get Brazilians, and they're like Japanese descent, and they told me that in Japan, in Brazil, there's a huge like Asian community there. So
Oh,
there's a lot of a
really?
mixture of Asian as well. So
That's awesome. I didn't know that. Let's go back and find the Asian community. Yeah, actually, if you go into like some of the Hawaiian history and some of the agriculture, I think the pineapple actually originally came from Brazil. There was a lot of oceanic travel between Brazil and Hawaii. So that's very cool.
I think do they have presidents in Brazil, or is it a prime minister?
I think it's a president. I think it's a president.
I remember that Mel told me that one of the president was actually a Japanese, so that's how much their culture is mingled.
Yeah, that would make sense because Japanese love Hawaii too. That's so cool. A lot of Japanese moved there. Robin's helping us with our historical facts here. President, yes. Okay, good. I wasn't lying.
Don't you have like some Japanese blood too? One?
I have some Chinese blood. Yeah, from my grandfather's side. He was Filipino and a little bit of Chinese, and I can't remember. My mom just told me this last story of like what the connection was. So I told my mom, I'm like, we need to do a podcast of this so I can like share this information, with people to understand like the nuances of how some of the different cultures and people, immigrated and served on the plantations and stuff. It's fascinating to me. Like, just hearing more of the details, because we hear about it like in a very Hawaii's a mixed population. We have lots of different people here, but like understanding like the details and all of those more personal stories from the people who lived at the time, or who grew up with people who lived at the time, is very fascinating to me.
Yeah. Oh man, Robin! Look at Robin. She's trying to push the DNA test. She keeps telling me do the 23andMe.
Yes, I haven't. I'm sure I know my heritage, but it's only as good as the data that they put in it, right? So I don't know. It depends on how they define some of the things, because like I can't remember which one it was, but it just seemed like it was a very general category, like Polynesian or Pacific Islander. I'm like, there's a lot of nuances in there, like don't create us as a monolith. So
that's what I was afraid of, because for example, say a Chinese person do the 23andMe. China is huge, man.
Yes.
It's like another continent like America.
Yes.
You want to know what part of ancestor there, but I have a feeling that if I do the 23andMe, they're gonna just say Chinese. That's it. What I want to know where.
Yes, which region? Help me like narrow it down a little bit so I can do more research for sure.
That would be worse for me because I'm Vietnamese, and Vietnamese are closely linked with China, so instead I'll be called Chinese.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, she's schooling us on this DNA.
Oh my god, man, Robin!
Oh my god!
You really want us to take it, huh?
Robin, did you start a job at 22andMe?
Promotional marketing. Awesome. Okay, yeah. So guys, definitely I'm gonna drop the link again. Back Snow Paw on Kickstarter. Hold on one second. Boom.
Please back it, like it, share it,
Yes, please share
whatever
it.
you
Yeah, share
can.
it if you can't afford it. We understand. A share goes a long way too. And tell people why you think it's such a cool project, whether it's Mog's working on it, the style, the story type, like whatever it is that's attracting you. For me, it's everything. It's Mog, it's Rob, it's werewolves, anything wolves, I'm on it. It's Scotland, female lead. Come on.
Yeah,
Um,
actually, if you think about it in comic world, I don't think I've ever actually seen any female werewolf as a main character ever.
no,
This is
no.
historical, guys. You want the historical moment? Get it. For like
Yeah.
$5 digital edition, $15 for the main print and
Mm-hmm.
digital edition. That's a good deal, guys.
Yep. And this project is going to happen. Rob has a great track record of delivering his campaigns. I can say that as someone who has backed all of his campaigns. He delivers. Not all creators on Kickstarter do. They've already surpassed their 10,000 goal. They're sitting at $15,000, which is amazing. I am predicting at least $20,000 campaign. You're going to get there, especially if he's releasing the original arts and all that stuff. This is fantastic. I might it's gonna hurt my budget, but I might have to get that Blood Moon.
Dude, you're gonna have competition, man. Right, man? First come, first serve.
I
bro.
know. I gotta message Rob after this. Hey, when are you releasing? I'm gonna try and see if I can get the inside scoop.
I'm putting my finger on it.
That's right. I remember we're good friends. Think of me. No, seriously though. Yeah, guys, definitely check out the campaign. It's a fun story, and I think you'll like it. Highly recommended by the Moana Nui Podcast. Alrighty, so let's. We're getting close to the end, so we want to definitely make sure we talk about the work that you guys are both doing on Totally Rad Comics. You got some covers going. Tell us about what's going on there.
So definitely I don't want to put, because I'm not sure if this is no, like non safe for work kind of podcast. I'm not too sure. So I made a slideshow where it's safe, that I can show you the cover and the link to it. So let me share that screen again for you. But
Okay.
so it's pretty much, I got my cover on here. This is my first ever published cover, and I had the chance to work with Jim E. Noble under Totally Rad Comics, and this is the Totally Rad Monsters. This is the first ever debut of this story, and the first ever debut of 4 characters. And so I got the chance to illustrate Monica here, who is like a Egyptian goddess, and Jim is very secretive about his storylines until it's like fully published into people's hands. So that's when I'm gonna get my my copies as well. In all honesty, so this character is the first one that I got to illustrate, and I do have another version of her that I was commissioned by Jim for, and as well as another character that is dropping soon. So I'm being like pretty much zip tied up on not being able to like really show you guys much of that one, but it's dropping soon. The thing is, over this weekend, I've gone to 2 small appearance in bookstore location here in the mall here in on Oahu, and I sold the original artwork. So someone already snapped everything. Pencil, all 6, no, all 8 pencils and all 8 ink. So, but it's a very rad story. So the main character in here, as far as I know, is Foxy Lady. Foxy Lady, she is of course a fox form. She's the lead in this, and the story goes into a lot of power and woman empowerment, and just the 4 girls who come from different courts. So you got Monica, who's like the Egyptian, kind of like the Cleopatra of Egypt, who is kind of like, who has power and has a lot of knowledge, but of course often looked down in society, right? And then you got Foxy Lady, and then Molly Dolly, who is like pretty much a porcelain doll. You know, you would think she's very delicate, but no, she got power to her. And then you got Gonem. Gonem is like a clay goddess. a clay goddess who is very powerful as well. And they all have their own quirks, and they have to come together and survive in this world that they are brought into. So that's the general idea that, or storyline that I got. I don't have too much in it. Again, Jim is very like secretive about it. But
Uh-huh.
other than that, I was so honored to it got picked up and got published with him. I did the line work, of course, and we had a colorist on here as well. And I want to thank him for taking the time to even work on this with me. But yeah, that and it opened this project actually opened up a new door for me to work with Mog again on an official project under Dustin Brunel, who is also like close friend with Jim E. Noble, and that will be on a title called Babe, Gore, and Dinosaur. And yes, and that one I got the script for. I'm gonna be I know we're both doing covers for, but then eventually we're gonna do a sort of like anthology. So we'll be in the sequential after that for sure. So yeah, but
Yeah,
my
guys,
cover is still available. You wanna go check it out on Totally Rad Monsters on Kickstarter. It's
Yep.
still available there, and the new cover is dropping soon.
also, An, you forgot to mention this is your first actual professional debut.
The
So please,
profession,
guys, this is
yeah.
her first cover ever, man. So please support
Um,
my friend An. She's awesome. She's amazing. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. She's gonna blow your minds away like a volcano eruption.
Ah, no,
it's
that's
still
right.
sinking into my head, but yes, it is my debut. It's my first ever cover, and of course I got a lot of local support so far. A lot. So mahalo to everyone, mahalo to everyone who's backed it, and especially the folks from the island. Yes, thank you.
Yes, I just dropped the link for everybody who's watching. If you want to go check out the campaign, they're killing it. They got
Thank you.
207 backers and 6 days left to go. So,
Yes,
yeah, that looks amazing.
yes.
But yes, don't, if you're sensitive about what you would like your children to see, please make sure they are outside of the room. Uh,
Yes, this one is on a riskier side. I do. So my instruction for this was to make it sophisticated. You want to enjoy the woman's, but also more than just the woman themselves, their body or their skin. There's more to these women,
mhm.
and that's what I wanted to bring across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations again. And we're definitely looking forward to seeing your art on more projects.
Yes, totally.
Yes.
And Mark will be there with me, so I can't
Yes.
wait.
Is there like what type of art do you like to like what subject or do you have like a genre or something that's your favorite if it's like not a page up, like if you had to do it and it was just like the type of art that you like to draw, what would that be?
Uh, For me, I like, so in general, I think I like epic fantasy
Mm-hmm.
in general, and I have done robotic illustration before. So when I first started, I did a lot of, ro- so those who follow me for a while on Instagram or like Facebook would see a lot of art that were earlier on in manga style, and then it transformed a bit into like realism mixed with manga, and then I experimented with a lot of robotic drawing and robotic character building because I wanted to mesh that cybersecurity side of myself into art, and so I did that. And then after that, I went into like a whole ring of bad girls kind of comics like Lady Death and Purgatory, Chastity, those kinds. So I started drawing that, but in the sense of like the classical fine art style is what I wanted to mix in with because and I think Mark would understand this is I adore classical art and fine arts. So I always want to put a little bit of that elements in, but in general, yeah, epic fantasy.
Yes, we love
Yeah.
fantasy.
I see your art more like a actually added to that. You actually put like a an emotional depth to it, which
Mm.
you delve into the psyche, which is usually like the disturbing psyches or what like something turbulent emotions, and you put that in, and you can feel that as coming off sometimes in one of your piece in your pieces, and that's for me is I think also your selling point is very intriguing, and I think subconsciously when people see it, they understand it and they get attracted to that because they say,
Mm.
"Oh, those turbulent emotions." Yes, it's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah. And that's the thing about art. I think that's why, like, for me personally, it was an outlet. It really was an outlet. I had a lot of mental problems that I went through, and art was my way out of that. Art
Mm.
was always there for me. So I think I was drawn into like the bad girls kind of comics, like, Lady Death, Purgatory, those kinds, because they seem like powerful women. Of course, they were put at a rut end at one point, and then rose from that, and then that inspired me. Pretty much like put me more into, yes, escapism at its best. Yes, yes, and that's what I tended to demonstrate in my art. But now I want to do more than just putting emotion in there. I want to take that emotion and put people in a story and take
Mhm.
them on a ride. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of your work. I'm looking up your Instagram right now so I can check out your profile
Oh,
and
yes.
see.
Yes. I know it's like I do have one here that I recently did for Philip Bersick. It's on tragedy that will
Ah.
be actually coming out in sometime in January. So these are the covers that I've done for him, and it just happened to really fit into the third issue. Tragedy, if you haven't had your chance to pick up on that, I would recommend that too. I think it's on demand right now. I picked myself up a blank cover, and as artists, you can also pick these up, and he supports artists. This Philip Mercer is one of those rare publisher for me that I've come across who are very supportive of the art and supportive of the artist overall. And so he gave me a bundle deal for an artist, but he gave us such a wide range of creative space to interpret his story, and that's how I was able to come up with these cover. Um, and the story is basically about Grace O'Connor, who you see here, whose parents mysteriously pass away. She got adopted by her dad's best friend, who is now her stepdad. And the stepdad is like a mob boss who pretty much train her, and then sent her out on a killing mission for him. And she can't escape that because he got a hold on her, being her father, her stepfather, and having control over her entire life, where she's monitored and told what to do. So hence, I try to demonstrate that with her being a puppet. She is strong, but she, power without like that self freedom to act is nothing. So yeah, I I was honored to do this.
Awesome. We'll definitely look out for Tragedy and Anvu and all of her other projects. Mog, tell us what's next with you. We got Snow Paw, and of course you're waiting for issue 2. What other projects do you have hidden away?
I'm going to do just more interior art now.
Okay.
And the other one that's kind of interesting is the Roxy, the one you said.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that one. It's again kind of historic, but it's not quite. It's 1920s, the Roaring Twenties, the flapper girls, and
Oh.
the the Prohibition era, and it's in Chicago. So it's written by a guy who is living in Illinois, Chicago. No, actually in the outskirts of Chicago, but still he's very familiar with history there, and he loves it. So he's delving in that world, and now you're mixing and you're sprinkling it with supernatural. And the main character is a female. Now this one is going to be more a bit mature. It's going to be sexy, and she's a vampire. That's all I'm going to say. But it's not Twilight.
Is it like more like Underworld, like with Celine? Like I love her. She's like one of my,
Yes. Very good. Very good. Yes.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite series. That's why I'm like, oh, vampires, werewolves, I'm in.
Yeah. And then, of course, I know I talked about earlier Big Gore Dinosaur with Dustin Brunel. Mom and I will be on it. It's literally, think of Star Wars. It's a full city full of crime. Somehow I'm like dealt with books with a lot of crimes and violence. But anyways, it's of course a mature story. So viewers' discretion, but it deals with a lot of crime syndicates in that world, but there's a lot of people from different species. That's why the name Big Gore Dinosaur. There are people that look like lizards and dino beings, but they all interact in such a humane way. But it's a story that's pretty down to earth in a very violent area where people have to find ways to get by and to survive in the street. And the story is just pretty much based on the idea of you stick to your kind, you stick to your family that you create, and you work together to survive in such a harsh world.
Nice.
Yeah. So that one, I am looking forward to it, even though it's like a little bit more on the mature side and violent, but it has a solid story to it.
Sweet.
And yeah.
Yes. Comment from JD. He's saying he's looking at the Kickstarter. It has some very nice artwork on Snow Paw. Yes, JD.
Yes.
Back it.
Thank you, JD.
Yep.
Please
He
support.
did the
It's a great
artwork.
project. Yeah. Yes, great artwork on that for sure. Alrighty. Well, it looks like we're at the end of the hour, but before we close out, I'll just let you guys tell folks where they can follow you online and see your progress in art and more. We'll start with An.
Yeah.
So you can find me on Facebook down here with my name Anbu. It's ANH, and you can find me on Instagram at ONK97. That's Oscar Nancy Kilo, so ONK97. You keep up with me on both Facebook and Instagram on where I'll be, what projects I'll be on, what I got new coming up, pretty much.
Julio.
All right. As for me, super simple. I have it literally on my name here. It's Mog Park. It's on Facebook, but also Instagram and Twitter, ArtStation. And if you guys want to check out my older works, you can find me in Tubu Gomdori at deviantart.com. And I do a live stream every Sunday at 6 p.m. PST, which is California time, on the Artist Alley Shopping Network. It's AASN. And so you can find me there. I draw there. Sometimes I auction. Sometimes I sell my sketches. And I try to show other works that's available there. So it's a great way to also ask me questions and say hi and become friends with me. And also every month I do a show called Draw and Bid. And you draw what the theme is that I put up for the auction for that month. And we average about 20 entries a month. And there's always a few that gets into sometimes like it can even go off into the hundreds, the auction pieces. So you can make some money there, but mostly it's just for fun. It's just me supporting my fellow artist community. And don't go there sometimes seriously thinking that I'm going to make you a millionaire. That's not the thing. We're just here for fun. It's supporting community artists and we're networking. And the bidding awards sometimes do, but I do warn you, it does get brutal sometimes.
Very. It has gone very brutal.
And unfortunately, I am very, very busy and commissions are closed.
Yes, commissions are closed. So
my commissions are also closed till December, at least. Yeah. By December, I can take some, but not a lot.
It's a good problem to have. Maybe not for people who want your art, but so even more important for you guys to support, the projects that they're on, the Kickstarter books, because that's a way for you guys to get their art, and in the case of Snow Paw, maybe even some originals. So, definitely check that out. And so I hope you guys, everyone, has enjoyed tonight's episode here on the Moana Nui Podcast as we chatted it up with Mog Park and Anvu. If you like their projects or anything that we talked about tonight in the show, please hit the like and subscribe button, the share button. Follow the Moana Nui Podcast on YouTube and Twitch. We stream. Usually our normal stream is on Thursdays at 7 and 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, we periodically we do specials for our Kickstarter friends. So that's why we're here on Monday. Let's see, and give us a like and a follow on Twitch and YouTube. And our podcast, you can find it on all podcast platforms, Google, Apple, whatever your favorite one is. We're on there too. And so on behalf of myself and Dana, thank you guys for joining us. And of course, I also have to say, please support the Wildcard Chronicles. That's our comic book series and the adventures of Nakoa back there. We have a Kickstarter coming. It's launching on November 16th. So for those who love hearing more about Hawaii's stories, experiencing our culture, and just want fun books for your kids, it is bilingual. So you also get to learn Hawaiian words. We also approach it from a very educational standpoint. And that is, of course, written by me. My new illustrator is Ryan Robinson. And let me just tell you, the art in my inbox, he's killing it. So I am really excited for this project. And I hope you guys will be there to support us. So again, on behalf of Moana and Dana, mahalo nui. We hope you guys have a great week. Tune in on Thursday for our normal broadcast. And we will see you guys then. Aloha. Malama pono, ahui ho.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then. When they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves a republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if you put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course, versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course, cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.